prelims ever, so that means it's going to be the best prelims breakdown show ever. Ain't that how that works, right?
I've been told that's how it works. We'll see. No, I'm just kidding. Buckle your seatbelts. It's 4 fights, which is going to be considered, from you casuals at home, a short prelims. However, these 4 fights could not be more loaded up, man.
Yeah, these are legit. Like, 3 of these fights could sell out an arena. I mean, Harrison's headlined in other promotions. Holmes headlined as a B-side, but still. Sterling's headline as a B-side. Kattar's headline Fight Nights as a B-side. Jiri, former champion. Rakic, not so much, but I think anybody Jiri was fighting, like that's a Fight Night main event. Just the fact that Jiri's in it, regardless.
100%. And then where we're going to start with Sodiq Yusuff and Diego Lopes. I mean, talk about a rising meteoric star. I mean, this dude's 1,000 degrees hot right now, Diego Lopes.
He has a very similar speed of increase as an Alex Pereira. He's just like a skinny, a featherweight grappling Pereira as far as career trajectory.
But I mean, to his credit, it's because he just every test they give him, right? So first test, Evloev on 3 days' notice goes to decision and arguably should have been able to tap him. And you're talking about that's the number 4 or 5 featherweight in the world. So boom, already on debut, that's insane. And then you look at his next fight. So okay, you performed well. We'll give you someone that's, mediocre in the middle of the rankings. Gavin Tucker subs him in 1 minute and 38 seconds. Okay, damn, we're impressed. We'll give you someone a little higher up in the featherweight tiers. Maybe around 30, 25, right? Pat Sabatini. Okay, I'm going to KO him in 90 seconds. All right, if you're going to keep finishing guys under 100 seconds and you're going to almost beat Evloev in your debut on 3 days' notice, now we got to take you serious. Here's a ranked guy. All right, well, I'm going to finish him faster than I've finished anyone in the UFC so far. I mean, the dude is
1 minute and 29 seconds.
Dude's unbelievable. In his 3 UFC wins, he's fought now for 4 minutes and 37 seconds.
But he has some real power, bro. Those were some short little, almost hockey uppercuts. Just boom, boom. Just almost, it kind of looked like a hockey fight. And when they clinched up, he dropped Sodiq Yusuff with the same clinch uppercut twice. And the second one was all she wrote.
And you know what I will say for him, too, is you can tell in some of those times when he's throwing the double uppercut, he's essentially saying, if you're throwing a counter and you see this, you've read this uppercut and you've dipped back and you're throwing the hook, I'm here to just eat that hook to try to throw this second uppercut. I do not care. He's just such a savage that you can tell it, throws guys off in the start.
Well, he seems like a really plus athlete, too. He is shredded. He has just, his movements, just his power. He seems just like a super athletic guy. And it's crazy. He's like a grappling coach by trade. That's how he broke into this industry, was by being Alexa Grasso's grappling coach. And to have that kind of power in your hands, imagine if Brian Ortega had Ilya Taporia's power. That's basically what we got here.
Quite literally. I mean, yeah, you're not even wrong. Or if Bryce Mitchell had Calvin Kattar's boxing.
Bro, I could not be higher on Lopes, bro. I got him a 6 in my power rankings. I know this probably gets him the 13th ranking that Yusuff was holding. But I mean, I have him power ranked at 6.
So they
be higher than that. And that's still including Holloway.
So they officially put Aljo into the featherweight rankings this week. So he got the 8th spot, which put Lopes would have got 13, got pushed down 1, so he's 14. But dude, honestly,
that's bullshit.
Yeah, I was going to say
bullshit
because Yusuff is 15, and he just got finished in 89 seconds by the guy at 14. So for me, Diego Lopes, I mean, he's, and hear me out, better than Ige, Barbosa, Mitchell, Chikadze, Kattar, Emmett, and then you get to Allen, Aljo, Movsar, Yair, Ortega, Holloway. Those guys, you start getting to okay, these are losable fights, but I still even like him over, I mean, honestly, against Aljo, I think I like him in that one. Against Arnold Allen.
I like him over...
I like him there.
Over Aljo. I like him over Arnold Allen. I like him over Yair. Now, I think Evloev, we've already seen that was a hard fight for him. It was close, but he lost it.
I'd argue with
And then
the camp. I think he beats Evloev too. I'm pretty high on him.
decent point in there, like Ortega. Ortega would be interesting, but I think his striking's way better. Like I think that he could win that.
I agree. Yeah, I think Lopez is, in my opinion, I think he is 2 fights away from being the next guy up for a title. Now, I don't know if the UFC is going to fast track him like that, but I mean, if he keeps finishing guys like this, they have to.
Exactly, bro. If not, they're missing out. If they slow roll this guy and give him an Ige and like make him Bryce Mitchell and like they just make him take the long road up, that's not the move. I say we get him either like an Arnold Allen or Yair, like an Ortega or the Evloev fight. And boom, you're right there.
Totally agree. He called for Evloev, the rematch. I think totally could be made as well. I think the UFC kind of showed their hand by now granted this is the writers doing the rankings, but like the UFC owns all the writers. No offense, writers. But 15 versus 4 or 5 versus 14, I don't think they'll book that because they want to keep Evloev like climbing the ladder as well. So to me,
I disagree. Hear me out. I think they don't want Evloev. I don't think he's sellable, marketable, doesn't have a fan base. I think they would love to feed that ranking to Lopez, a guy who can actually sell some fights. Maybe that's tinfoil hat.
Fair. I just feel like the Arnold Allen matchup is coming because I think they're trying to get him right next to Movsar and then essentially tell Movsar, like, you got to fight him. It's not even a choice.
Yeah, I can see that too. Because I think Arnold Allen is like kind of hit his ceiling, and maybe I'm wrong there. He's a young guy. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, he's not like electrifying. Like he's kind of like a volume boxer, right? Like Arnold Allen. So it's like not the most exciting style. It's not like he's super exciting, like guy, marketable guy. I see what you're saying there. And then Yusuff, I'm out, bro. Like I have him out of my top 15. I have him at 19 in my rankings. I mean, I think it's time to start feeding him to some young lions. The Jack Jenkins, Nate. Like I don't know if you consider Sean Woodson a young lion, but like I don't know, bro. Like I'm kind of out on the whole Sodiq Yusuff experiment. I'm down to start like.
You know, it'd be a hilarious fight.
Dogs.
Sodiq Yusuff Zalal. You see how I just use their name as one name there?
Sodiq Yusuff Zalal. Yeah, no, I can see that, and I'm here for it, and I would probably hammer Zalal.
Yeah, see, here's my problem with Sodiq Yusuff, man, is that he's only 30 years old, but when he really was getting, like, his big push in the UFC was 2019, 2020, like, right around the COVID era. Like, right when COVID was hitting was whenever Sodiq Yusuff had his biggest push. So it's like, for 4 years now, he's kind of trolled around the top 15 and can't make it. So it kind of just shows me he's like a perennial top 15 gatekeeper, a top 20 kind of a guy. Like, I don't hate his skill set, and I think he can beat a lot of cans. He can beat all the cans. But I also think that he kind of reminds me of like a Charles Jourdain. Like, he got up there, but he's not going to stay up there, and he's not going to get back up there.
Why? Okay, all right. Now I can hear you. I don't know what happened, but yeah, it went mute on both of these.
Oh, nice. Well, I was just comparing him to much like Charles Jourdain. Like, he got the ranking. He kind of we have already seen him hit his ceiling. He's not going to be there again. Now, I'm not saying he's a scrub. I'm saying he's probably a top 30 guy still for a few more years. But like Charles Jourdain and Sodiq Yusuff, I told you they were fighting. It's a close fight. I like Yusuff most of those times. But in like 3 years when Yusuff's 33, I don't know if that's the same thing.
And also, when Yusuff was getting that push, they had no like featherweight prospects to push. I said
right.
Evloev wasn't here yet. Lopez wasn't here yet. Arnold Allen wasn't here yet. I don't even think Giga Chikadze was here, or he had just debuted. Leroy Murphy either wasn't here or just debuted. So like they were like grasping at straws, and he just happened to be the straw that they gave a little push to. I don't think he was ever that special, but we can keep it pushing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I am super excited to keep it pushing. This is one where, like, all morning all morning long, I woke up and I thought to myself, like, man, I don't hate Holly Holm's chances tonight. I think the value's worth it. And I just couldn't pull the trigger. And thank God. What did the odds close at here?
Holly Holm plus 350, ranked 5, taking on the debuting PFL champ Kayla Harrison, minus 455. But most of the week that was over minus 500. Late money came in on Holm.
Right. Now the big thing was, and this is, you know what amazed me, man, and this is I want to have like a small discussion about this, perhaps on the betting shows next week. Is it surprising to you that money came in late on Holly Holm? Because my whole thing, and our video that you might have seen on Instagram, shout out to you guys watching Reels, was that if Kayla Harrison can make the weight, that was the biggest battle in this whole fight.
Yeah, I think it was just like worth a sprinkle. Like I said, was Kayla Harrison going to be dead from the weight cut? Like, she was fighting like random PFL cans. Like, this is a step up even at 42 years old. So I think there was just like a lot of unknowns. I think you're betting the unknown more than you were betting on Holly Holm. You know what I'm saying? And I picked Holly Holm on verdict for that for exactly the reasons I just described. I didn't put any money on it, but I did pick her on verdict. So it is what it is. But I mean, that being said, like weight women outside of Arena Aldana are snooze city, and Kayla Harrison is not. She gets finishes. She's dominant. She's a fucking freak show. Like, I'm a mark, bro. I'm bought in. I moved her to 1 in my power rankings. I have her above the champ Pennington. I have her above Aldana, above Dumont, above Vieira, above MBS, above. I mean, I'm a mark, bro. I got my Kayla Harrison.
Oh my God!
Like, bro, you know, like
once and he's sold.
Sold. I'm so sold. None of these other girls do shit like that, dude.
All right, I'll explain to you why I'm sold, because I'm right there with you. She is the next girl up. She's the champion of this division. There ain't a girl in the UFC that can hold her proverbial nuts. And here's why I say that. In the PFL, you can't throw elbows, and I never think about that shit. As soon as I saw her take Holly Holm down and start raining destructive elbows, I completely changed my narrative and said, oh, she's going to wreck, excuse my language, bitches at 135.
No, for sure. And and the weight cut looked good on her. I mean, she was lean. You know, she wasn't as like puffy. You know what I mean?
I mean, it was tough. It looked like it took everything out of her to make it, which just makes me think at 145, I think she would crush Amanda Nunes. Like, they should have kept that division around and pumped more into it and gave us more women's featherweight fights and incentivized Nunes to stay in that division because the cut wouldn't be rough for her, and we could have got that fight. And I don't know. Maybe I'm a mark for going this far with it, but that's how I feel about it.
So Kayla Harrison, I mean, I gave her 10-8 in the first round. Did you?
Yes, absolutely.
And then in the round 2 comes out, minute 47 seconds. Trip takedown, obviously from the judoka. Straight to mount, took the back, rear naked choke. I mean, Holly Holm also like kept dumbly engaging in the clinch. She's even made some statements like saying the same thing. Like, that was ridiculous. That was like the worst. And she, like, I mean, it wasn't the game plan, but I don't know whatever you want to call it. Worst, just decision she could have possibly made.
It was
like
terrible.
She was the boxer. Like, she should have stayed on the outside, leg kicks, jab. I mean, that was her path to victory, and she just went straight to the clinch with the gold medalist judoka. Like, what are we doing?
So, not to belabor the point, are we both in on Kayla Harrison title shot next?
Title shot next. Next champ. Only really fighter in this whole division I give a fuck about.
Yeah, I mean, for as much as like the build-up and anticipation of this fight was, she kind of met every single expectation. So I don't have that much to break down as far as like she's lacking this or she's missing this. Like, it's what we were sold is what we got. I mean, she's the next one up to be the title.
Yeah, like Raquel Pennington, kind of a grappling heavy style, not a fucking chance. Dumont likes to get on top, not a fucking chance. I mean, what? Bueno Silva going to throw up a gilly? I don't fucking think so. Like, I just like, what are these girls about to
Well,
do to Kayla Harrison?
and like, is Arena Aldana or Caitlin Vieira going to defend the takedown? No shot.
I agree, dude. I agree. I agree. Yeah, I know. I agree. Let's keep it pushing to more featherweights. We got the featherweight debut of Aljamain Sterling taking on Calvin Kattar, who's now 36 years old. He was ranked 8, plus 140 for Kattar, minus 170 for Sterling. I had Sterling money line on a parlay. You had Sterling by submission. So we had a little something riding on this one. Man, I mean, scoring this one, we 1,000% don't got to go round by round. Sterling every round, multiple takedowns, kind of a snoozy grappling approach, but also dominant. I mean, it was very dominant. Calvin Kattar didn't have a whole lot to like offer. Like he wasn't. I mean, he was getting back up to his feet sometimes. Like in the first run, he got up like I think 3 times, but then he got taken down at 4th. I mean, in rounds 2 and 3, he was able to get up once. But once he got up to his feet, he wasn't able to like defend or get any offense off. So it was just like, I mean, it was one-way traffic. It was just very slow, like boring traffic. I don't know. That's my analysis. What do you think?
Yeah, it just honestly, like, as far as, and I did take Aljo by sub, but we gave it Aljo by decision, and kind of we're saying, like, you could take both because technically you would make money, and that was, like, the 2 ways out for Aljo to win this, decision or sub. I got greedy and went for the sub. The decision would have profited me here, so I'll remember that in the future. But, man, essentially it was a 15-minute fight where Aljo had 11 minutes of control, and Kattar threw 29 standing strikes. So it's like Kattar throwing 1 punch every 30 seconds, effectively. I mean, he's never going to win a fight doing that. He's a volume striker already. So when you're fighting a guy that's a volume grappler, like Aljo, and you're a volume striker, you don't get to volume strike. You have to defend the volume grappling attempts. Like Merab. Weird. They're the same guy, essentially. Yeah, for me, it was like, I actually came away disappointed in this fight because Aljo wouldn't go for subs. He was so comfortable to just be in dominant position and control and doing okay damage that I was like, man, this guy's never going to be the 45 champ because the 45ers fucking go for it.
See, I wouldn't mind, hear me out. This is going to sound crazy. Sterling Evloev just to eliminate one of the snoozy options. Like, so we can guarantee ourselves one of these snoozy guys is like out of the title picture.
That
like,
kind of seems.
We can't have both of them. We can't have both of them.
so that kind of seems, and we can get into this because every judge 30-27, me, you 30-27. I'm sure we can get into this. Yeah. What's next for Aljo is he's now officially ranked 8 at featherweight. Movsar's 5. I think it's fully on the table. And if you're Movsar, it's like, yeah, you're fighting back against 8, but the name is huge. So, like, you can't say no to fighting a former champ and getting that clout at number 5 where you're in striking distance of a title fight no matter what the time is. So
that's like main card of pay-per-view all day long.
100%. 100%. Yeah, for me, I think that is the move. I love that because that fight's going to absolutely suck, but it's going to guarantee that future fights don't have to. So
exactly.
It is
like
literally
we gotta die
2 birds.
On that cross.
It's 2 birds in one cage, and we're going to kill them both. And
for sure.
Yeah.
But also, I think if they do give him Lopez, I think Lopez beats him.
Okay. Interestingly enough, I think that if you Lopez Allen, and we've done a lot of featherweight Grand Prix at this point with the way we broke down the main card and my bullishness for Holloway Topuria, but that's a whole different. Actually, none of the names are crossing yet. I should just be the featherweight matchmaker at this point. But Sterling Evloev and then Arnold Allen and Diego Lopez, and the winners fight each other. Pretty much that simple.
Yeah, I kind of don't hate Sterling Ortega either because, like, go ahead, go into Ortega's guard for 15 minutes and, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that could make that could force him to kind of stand and bang.
So oddly enough, I don't hate Sterling and Yair and Evloev Ortega because I think Evloev will be way more bullish about like an aggressive takedown. Whereas I think Aljo is going to push him to the fence and get some little bullshit foot sweep and not really give him attempts for submissions in transition.
See, I would argue back. I guess I'm just being favorable to Ortega. I think Ortega is more likely to sub Aljo. Those Russians are hard to sub, dude. Those Russians.
I mean, they're not.
They like.
They're hard to sub because they won't tap, not because they're hard to catch.
Like we just saw with Arman and Charles Oliveira. Like, when's the last time you saw a Russian get like subbed by a jiu-jitsu guy? It never happens. But like we have seen American wrestlers get subbed by jiu-jitsu guys. I don't know. I think Evloev Ortega sucks to watch, but
I think for Aljo, like I just don't see any world where he's gonna get submitted because I don't think he's gonna give his back up or give an arm triangle. Like you'd really have to catch him, and he doesn't go for aggressive takedowns, so catching him in a transition is gonna be really hard.
And Lopez did have success against Evloev, like catching. I mean, some
if Evloev's a regular human, he taps to the knee bar. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like regular dudes will tap. It's just that he's a crazy Russian.
But I mean, featherweight also. This may sound like an oxymoron or a riddle. As snoozy as Aljo is, it is kind of dope adding him into the mix at featherweight. Like it freshens up the matchmaking. Gives you so many other options. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 100%, man, 100%. But yeah,
let's keep pushing a year.
Absolutely, we got to break this fight down. What is the odds finish at here? -110 for both guys, I believe.
So we got Jiri at -105 on a straight bet for our dog of the week. He finished at +100, so not a ton of line movement. Rakic ends at -120, ranked 5th. Prohaska ranked 2nd. Yeah, man, Rakic looked real good in the first round, but I still stand by it. I think Rakic is just like slightly above mid. Like if light heavyweight wasn't so thin, I don't think he's like a world-class guy. But light heavyweight is like has no depth. So yeah, he's a top 10 guy. But he just doesn't strike me as anything special. Like I don't think he's bad. I don't think he sucks. I just don't see what I'm supposed to be like excited about.
You know what's so funny, and I agree with you. So funny about you saying that though, is that shout out to Michael. He was asking, what are we supposed to be excited about with Jiri after watching the first 5 minutes? Like, what is he good at? And you and I both answered like in tandem, he's awkward. Meaning like what he does, nobody else does, and the risks he takes, nobody else will take, which means the openings he's able to get to are openings no one else can ever see, and the ones that you don't defend. I mean, he's just so unorthodox that it's like, it doesn't matter what he's bad at, because that gives him the opportunities to be good at things you've never seen.
Well, he's basically stanceless. He fights out of both stances, like, almost equally. Iron chin. And elite power for the division. I mean, right up there with the most powerful guys. Right up there with Blachowicz, right up there with like Roundtree. I mean, obviously Pereira.
And he's deceptive in a way that's like, man. I mean, if you think about street fights, if someone was like tilting and toting their head at you, it would be hard not to swing at it. You know what I mean? Like hands down, like hands back. Like he just fights so weird that he lures you into doing things that you think are safe, but are just absolutely the wrong decision, which is kind of what happens to Rakic in the second round. He got too comfortable in the first and allowed Jiri to essentially catch the timing, and Jiri also decided, like, you could tell he made the executive decision of like, oh, I'm eating too many, like, I'm just going to start throwing.
Well, also, all of Jiri's knockouts are always, like, epic highlights. Like, he barely has any, like, boring pound outs. Like, bro, we get a clean right hand to a knee to the head, and then you get the pounding out. But, like, I mean, absolutely nuke right hand, lands clean, knee to the head. Like, he just has these creative combinations, these violent finishes, these highlight moments. Yeah, I mean, it's kill or be killed. He gets 50K here. That pollen is whooping Harrison's ass. But
April in Oklahoma's alive, baby. Yes, gets to 50K. And honestly, like, when you think about the other, because there were a lot of finishes that deserved the official, well, I guess 300K, right?
Yeah, he got 300K. You're right.
Yeah, so
he gets one of the 300Ks.
He gets the official 300K. Now, the bunch of other 50s that got handed out behind the scenes that we were told about. But when you think about it, man, like, yeah, the way he came back, the way it was like stellar highlight, like the UFC can clip it and sell it, and honestly, kind of does his job in the division. like the unspoken job of like get this mediocre mid guy that just keeps getting boring decisions out of the fucking bracket. I mean, in all honesty, like that is like a Dana White like handshake. Like, hey, thanks for getting him the hell out of here. I didn't want to deal with this guy much longer.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I mean, I have Jiri power rank 3 in the division. Like, yeah, he got knocked out by Pereira, and I do have him behind Ankalaev. But I think Jiri beats Jamal Hill. Like, I like Jiri's chances against Jamal Hill.
Yeah, I mean, I'm completely out on Jamal Hill. I fully dislike him. I think Ankalaev and Jiri is a super fun fight because Ankalaev is like so technical and so disciplined and won't go for things that aren't there. But Jiri is a guy that like forces you to have to do that. I don't know. It's like he's such a puzzling fighter that he's fun against no matter who you put him against. But I especially like him against boring guys because he forces boring guys to not. You can't be boring against him. It's not a choice.
Yeah, the only thing is like Pereira's already been mentioning Ankalaev's name. Like by all intents and purposes, it looks like Ankalaev's next for Pereira. So I think Yuri's going to have to fight back.
I mean,
whether
fight
that's
Hill.
a Jamal. Yeah, because I mean Yuri's coming off a win, Jamal coming off a loss, but I think that matters less at the top end. I mean, or you could do Jamal and Rakic loser on loser and give Prohaska like a Krylov, or maybe Prohaska fought Jan.
Yeah, Jiri has fought Jan. That's who he beat for the.
Yeah, that's right. No. That's how we got.
No,
look it up.
He beat Glover.
Yeah, I'm having a brain. I can't remember if they fought. Like, I think he went Dominic.
They've not fought. It was booked, and that's when he blew his shoulder out.
That's right. So I think you rebook that. I think you rebook that personally, because I mean Jamal Hill is probably going to need some time off. Jan Blachowicz has been like tweeting and shit saying that he's like wanting to fight soon. I think you rebook Jiri Jan Blachowicz.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Jiri Jan seems to be the fight there. I thought they had fought because of the booking. Yeah, I think that's actually
Rakic Hill is like kind of dope.
Yeah, because he has the recent win over Krylov, correct? So yeah, Rakic Hill is actually super fun, especially because like once again, I like Hill in that fight, but Jamal Hill for me is a guy that I'll never be a fan of, but I do respect his skill set.
Oh yeah, because I mean, he definitely had the power advantage over Krylov, probably like the athleticism advantage over Krylov. Krylov's obviously going to be more technical, so his fight's going to look a lot like the Jiri Krylov, or not Krylov, the Jiri Rakic fight. Kind of just looked, in my opinion. You know, Jamal a little more unorthodox.
Agreed. Jamal will also be a little bit defensively stronger in striking. Now, I know that's not a good example in his last fight, but he is usually pretty defensively sound.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair point to bring to the table. So yeah, Jiri cashes our straight bet, our dog of the week that we gave you, although it's kind of a cop out at -105. Hey, man, he cashed.
Hey, under -110, under standard even odds.
Yeah, for sure, brother. And yeah, like I said, thank you, Jiri, for kind of taking out the trash, because I don't want to live in a world where we're watching Rakic pay-per-views and paying $80 for that shit.
No, I just don't. That's agree, man. Like, it would suck so much to have had to, because if Rakic wins, it's pretty clear. Like, okay, you just beat Jiri. Like, all right, like I would take him over Ankalaev. They're both terrible decisions. But like,
I was just about to say, like, we cannot have Ankalaev like beat Pereira in a snoozy 5-round nut hug fest, and then we're paying money to watch Ankalaev fights. Like, I'm just like, that's not the world I want to live in.
Fully agree. I couldn't agree more. Thank goodness 205, the results that happened on this card specifically happened, because like Pereira winning was really nice, and Prohaska winning was really nice. Now I guess obviously if Jiri wins and Jamal Hill wins, then it's very clear that Yuri's going to fight Hill in that case, because
that fight would be sick. Like, that fight needs to happen.
I'm still
Jiri
okay
Jamal
with that fight,
like,
in all honesty, if that's the next one. Like, if Ankalaev does get the shot, Jiri Hill, I'm so here for it, and it honestly sells.
That's what I want to see. Like, how fun would that be on a Saturday? Cracking open a beer, watching Prohaska Hill just go to war. Both of those are go to war fighters at 205. We see go to war fighters at 55, the Gages, the Chandlers of the world. Go to war 6'4" guys just absolutely throwing nukes. Oh, you gotta see
Also,
that.
just before we wrap it up, how badly did Joe Rogan want Jiri to talk shit about Rakic saying he wasn't a samurai? Because he only asked him
Yeah.
6 times.
Yeah, he was trying to force that narrative for sure. I think I tweeted from the Beefy Boys account. Jiri's definitely a samurai. Like, call it what you want to call it, right? Like samurai, warrior,
Gladiator.
dog. Yeah, I mean,
My
use
thing
whatever
is,
word
like,
you want to use.
like BMF belt, like if you he's in the contention of like a guy that would be a BMF. Why? Because it doesn't matter who he's fighting. He literally signed the contract to fight any fucking body. It does not matter.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, same thing with Max Holloway. Like, I give them that respect at the very least. At the very least, I will give them that. Hell, I'll even give that to Bobby Green. If you want, like, a non-top end guy that still won't say no.
Hear me out here. Just because, like, we saw what Jiri Pereira looks like. Do you think, obviously there's a lot still there, a lot of meat left on the bone at light heavyweight, but do you think Jiri could ever go to heavyweight? I think I like Jiri's style at heavyweight more than I like Pereira's style at heavyweight. And people talk about Pereira.
Here's why. I guess I do and I don't, because I think Jiri's like speed in and out is going to allow him to dodge a lot of the slow heavyweights. But if he's eating the same shots, like if he's letting guys connect to heavyweight, he's going to sleep.
I know. I tried to, like, in my mind's eye, I was like, what does Jiri versus Pavlovich look like?
Oh, it's a sacrifice.
I agree.
That's the eclipse 4,000 years ago in Mexico, my man.
Tough. That's tough. Yeah, Yuri's chin is out there, but that's why we love him. That's why we love him. He puts on the show. But yeah, that wraps up the prelim segment. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like and subscribe, and we will have the betting show coming for you. I guess next week, since we're having a week off here. Next fight night is Nicolau Perez, which I think Nicolau got hosed here. I personally don't think Nicolau should have had to take the Perez fight. I think Nicolau should be fighting Pantoja. That's my take. I don't know if it's a hot take or not, but I think Nicolau got hosed.
I think the saving grace here is that if you're Nicolau and you get a win, then you can stand on it and say, like, I'm not fighting again until it's for a belt.
Yeah, for sure, brother, for sure. And I got some I'm a scumbag. I looked ahead. I got some 3 stars for you, so make sure you tune into the betting show.
Speaking of scumbag, you already have a parlay locked in, but as Dominic said, we'll be giving that out next week. He already copped the early value. Good for him. We're all jealous. We'll touch back and actually see if it improved. That'll be a good little experiment. But, yeah, don't forget to check out that betting video. Huge week in the green this last week. If you guys missed it, cashed a parlay, cast our dog straight, cashed our prop straight, and then we bet some extras just for $300. Might have missed on a couple of those, hit on a couple of those. But, yeah, overall turned almost 300% profit. Crazy for a single weekend.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, my best weekend ever at the books, and we gave you all those picks for free on this channel, so that's why you should subscribe. Can't wait to give you more winners.
Yes, sir.